Manchester United obviously lost 3-0 against Man City. These are going to be the 5 things we learned from the game, talking about Ruben Amorim post-match comments. Some interesting players who I thought had poor performances. One standout player who, again, despite the poor performance, I think did alright, as well as some other things as well in there as well. So let's get into it. Now, number 1, Ruben Amorim's stubbornness. Ruben Amorim post-match, he said it's not on the formation. He said he's not going to change his philosophies and principles at Manchester United. He also talked about the midfield as well, which I'm sure will be another point I'll talk about. But listen, Ruben Amorim's not going to change. I don't think he completely needs to change his formation. I think his formation has obviously been successful out in Portugal, but in the Premier League is a different league and he has to adapt. And I think that's something that he has to do and hasn't done enough. I think playing the bright out formation is never going to work. I think he said the reason why he went with Ahmad and Burmo in the 10s instead of a Bruno or a Menu is because he wanted more wingers in the team. Where ultimately in that game, I think we needed midfielders. I think we needed to pack that midfield, and that's ultimately something City did so well. That Foden, Reinders, Rodri, all packing out. Doku was coming in, packing that midfield as well. I think his stubbornness again could eventually get him sacked if he continues to keep up with this. Again, there's certain players that I don't think should be playing. But again, I think the fact that he's not going to change his system is pretty eye-opening, and again, he's talked about that a lot, the fact that he doesn't want to change his system, and I think some things need to change. I think, listen, Ahmad and Abermo just didn't work yesterday. They're both naturally right-footed players, so ultimately, left-footed players have both drifted naturally to that right-hand side, which again just filled a massive hole there. But yeah, that's that. Now, number 2, lack of quality for Manchester United. I thought all over the pitch there was no quality really. I think you look at how sloppy we were playing out from the back. You look at Dorgu and his crosses into the box, sloppy. And listen, I think we did miss Cunha. I think if you look at the games, Fulham, Arsenal, especially Burnley, we created chances early. And I think against City, we didn't really have any chances. Like Sesko's impact in the game was limited. He didn't really have many shots. Maybe one actual decent chance created for him, but yeah, we couldn't really get the sort of service into Benjamin Sesko really, and there was a total lack of quality from Manchester United from the get-go, as I said, especially midfield, but all around the pitch. I think Burma was probably the only one who kind of showed a bit of quality really. I think Dorgu, as I said, time and time again, he got into a good position. Final product, very, very poor. Like we just couldn't get anything from the game, and there was a total lack of quality from Manchester United in that game. We talked about how typically United would be up for these games. It's a big derby, it's a big game. United traditionally do well in these games, but ultimately that really didn't transpire in yesterday's game. Now, number 3, this is the big one, the midfield problem. I mean, the midfield problem is so glaringly obvious. Bruno cannot play in a 2. I just don't think he's designed for that, and I think this is the final game that I wanted to change now. Yes, I love Bruno. I want him to be in the team. You know, Cunha and Burma are going to be the 10s. If you want to see Bruno in the 8, yes, that's okay. But we have to get the perfect partner next to him. But even if we have Baleba in there, he's still not going to be able to teach Bruno to kind of watch his shoulder and check his man, because Foden just let go. I think it was Smith Rowe against Fulham. Like it's not natural for him to kind of check his shoulder because he's so used to playing more ahead and more advanced. Especially in the midfield too, you have to have a lot of quality there, and I just think Ugarte and Bruno were never really going to work, and I think the midfield is becoming a problem. As I said, City packed the midfield, they overran Manchester United, and there was too many players in there for United to deal with. We didn't know who to go with, and that was very well played by City. I think that's probably something they looked at and analysed before, but yeah, that's that. I think there was a huge midfield problem. Number 4, no attacking threat. I kind of touched that. Kind of comes in with the lack of quality. I think the lack of quality from United was obvious, but there was no goal threat. I think Sesko had that one shot early on, and then he had that one where it was on the right hand side and Donnarumma made that save. You had that snapshot from Abermo, but they're not really good chances. Like there weren't really any clinical chances made, and that is kind of a huge worry for Manchester United. Now, the 5th and final thing, where does Amorim go from here? Ultimately, the board still back him. That is what's been reported. And I back him as well, really. I think you have to give him a bit more time. I think 8 wins out of 31 is inexcusable. And I don't know what is going wrong with United at the minute. I think some of AMORIM's decisions are pretty weird, and I don't agree with them. I think bringing on defenders and doing all that sort of stuff don't make sense. And there are some huge issues and question marks there. But AMORIM, again, he said he would not change his philosophy. He said he would try and do everything he can to make Manchester United great again while he's there. So yeah, let's see what happens. But let me know your thoughts. These have been the 5 things we learned from Manchester United's game. Derby defeat against Man City. Very frustrating, but again, the only positive I could take was probably in Mbeumo's performance, and not even that. It was great, if we're being honest. But let me know your thoughts. Peace.